Welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we're going to dig into a free agency signing that, on the surface, seemed pretty minor, a move that barely even registered on the news ticker. We're talking about the Houston Texans signing offensive lineman Evan Brown. And what we're going to show you is why this quiet, low-key deal might just be a masterstroke of strategy from general manager Nick Caserio.
Okay, so to really get why this Evan Brown signing is so smart, you have to see what the Texans did just a few days earlier. They went out and signed tackle Braden Smith to a solid 2-year, $20 million contract. That, right there, is your anchor signing. It's a big foundational piece, a reliable, high-level starter you build around. And then, just after that, they bring in Evan Brown for just 1 year at a max of $3.5 million. That's the value play. It's a surgical, low-risk move that solves a specific problem without costing you anything down the road. You see these two deals side by side and bam, it reveals the Texans' whole philosophy. Pay up to lock down your cornerstones and then fill in the gaps with smart, flexible, high-value vets.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the big picture strategy for the Texans. Then, we're going to put the player himself, Evan Brown, and the details of his contract under the microscope. After that, we'll get into the cold, hard numbers, how he actually performed, and then we'll zoom back out to see what this all means for the NFL draft and how this one little signing truly changes everything for Houston. You know, every single move an NFL team makes in the offseason has a purpose. And for the Houston Texans right now, that purpose, well, it's crystal clear. And it really all revolves around one guy. It's the single focus that drives every decision they make.
That's it. That's the entire mission. It's that simple. After you invest everything you have, draft picks, money, the whole 9 yards in your franchise quarterback, there is only one number one priority for a GM like Nick Caserio. You have to make sure that guy's protected. You have to give him a clean pocket, you have to give him time to read the field, and you have to give him the confidence that he's not going to get blown up play after play. So the offensive line, it's not just a focus, it is the focus of everything they do. You can have all the fancy receivers you want, but if your quarterback is running for his life, none of it matters. The whole engine just sputters out. The Texans get this, and they're building this team the right way, from the inside out.
So with that mission locked in, building a fortress, how exactly does a guy like Evan Brown fit in? To really see it, we have to look at the contract details, because with a strategic signing like this one, believe me, the numbers on the page are just as important as the player himself.
And this is what's so fascinating. Look at the value here. A 1-year deal for a maximum of $3.5 million. Let's really put that in perspective for a second. In today's NFL, an average starting guard is making, what, $10 million a year? The top guys are getting 15, even 20 million. So to be able to get a guy with extensive starting experience for less than $4 million, that is an unbelievable piece of business. It carries practically zero risk for the Texans. If he's great, it's the steal of the offseason. If he doesn't work out, well, there's no financial baggage dragging the team down next year. It's a classic prove-it deal for him and a cheap lottery ticket for the team. This contract is the key to the whole strategy. So obviously, this signing wasn't some blockbuster that sent shockwaves across the league. So who is this guy that the Texans just brought in on such a team-friendly deal? To really get why he's the perfect puzzle piece for this specific role, you have to look at his career journey. And this right here perfectly illustrates that journeyman tag he has. 6 different teams in 7 years. Now, some people might look at that and think, yikes, this guy can't stick anywhere. But I see it completely differently. This timeline tells a story of incredible resilience. To survive in 6 different NFL locker rooms, under 6 different coaching staffs, learning 6 different offensive schemes, that shows an insane football IQ and an elite ability to adapt. This isn't a guy who couldn't stick. This is a survivor who has proven his value over and over again.
But listen, don't let that journeyman label fool you for 1 second into thinking he's just a camp body. This number right here, this is the most important number on his entire resume. 68. Since 2021, Evan Brown has started 68 regular season games. I mean, let that sink in. That's more than 4 full seasons worth of starts in the most brutal league on the planet. This is not some backup you're hoping can fill in. This is a battle-tested vet who has seen it all. He's gone up against the best D tackles in the game. That kind of experience is it's priceless, especially for an O-line that needs a steady hand.
And here's where it gets really, really good. The crucial point is his versatility. This is what takes him from being just a good value to a strategic weapon on your roster. He has started a bunch of games at all three interior spots, left guard, center, and right guard. That is an unbelievable asset. Yeah, he spent the last couple of years mostly at left guard in Arizona, which is the immediate hole Houston is trying to plug. But knowing you have a guy who can step in and start at center or right guard if somebody gets hurt, that is a massive, massive bonus. It's like having 3 players in one roster spot. And over a long season, that kind of dependability is worth its weight in gold.
Okay, so we've got the experience, we've got the versatility, and we've got the super team-friendly contract. But, how good is he actually? Let's take an honest, unflinching look at the numbers from Pro Football Focus, because the tape doesn't lie, and the grades here paint a very specific picture of the player Houston just signed.
And the analytics immediately show you the trade-off. They paint a picture of a decent player, but a player with clear limits. This quote from PFF's analysis of his last season says it all perfectly. He's not an extremely consistent guy. And that's the deal, right? For $3.5 million, you're not getting an all-pro. You're getting a guy who can absolutely hold his own, but he's going to have some reps, maybe even some full games, where he struggles against top-tier guys. That's just the reality of value shopping in the NFL.
This overall PFF grade last year was a 54.3. So what does that mean? Well, it ranked him 61st out of 81 qualifying guards in the league. That puts him squarely in that low-end starter, high-end backup category. On tape, a 54.3 grade tells you he's not going to be a turnstile who gets your quarterback killed. He knows his assignments, but he's also not going to be some dominant mauler who's moving guys off the line of scrimmage. He's a solid, functional player, a placeholder.
And if we dig down even deeper, his run-blocking grade specifically, well, it was even lower, down at 49.0. That actually put him near the bottom 10 among all starting guards last year. So this is the clear weakness in his game. It tells you that while he can hold up pretty well in pass pro, which, again, is priority number 1, he really struggles to get movement at the point of attack in the run game. You're not going to be running your power schemes right behind him consistently.
This chart right here just puts it all into perfect perspective. It helps you see exactly where he fits in. So you see his grade, 54.3. An average NFL starter, a guy you feel pretty good about, usually grades around a 65. And the elite, game-changing guys, they're way up there in the 85-plus range. So this just shows you his performance grade sits firmly in that serviceable, but definitely below average starter tier. And hey, this isn't a knock on him. It's a crucial part of the strategy. The Texans knew exactly what they were buying, a reliable player who raises the floor of the position, not necessarily the ceiling.
So you're probably thinking, okay, his performance is a bit inconsistent, his grades are kind of meh, so why is this move so brilliant? Well, now we get to the chess match. Let's look at the strategic implications and see how this one, low-cost signing, is the key domino that completely changes how the Texans can approach the NFL draft.
First off, you got to understand the incredible position of power the Texans are in. They are sitting on an absolute war chest of draft picks. I mean, look at this. 4 picks inside the top 70. That is a ridiculous amount of draft capital. It gives Nick Caserio so much power and, more importantly, flexibility. He can trade up, trade back, or just stand pat and add 4 potential impact players in the first 2 days. This is the ammunition you need to build a powerhouse.
In this slide right here, this lays out the entire playbook. Let's walk through it. Step 1, secure a veteran floor. By signing Evan Brown, the Texans know they have a capable 68-game starter at guard. Check. Step 2, and this is the most important part of this whole thing, eliminate desperation. Before this signing, left guard was a giant, flashing red light on their depth chart. Now, it's just a position they'd like to upgrade. They don't have to take a guard early anymore. They're not forced to reach for a need, which is the biggest mistake bad teams make. And that frees them up for step 3. Draft the best player available. They're now totally free to use those precious picks on the best player on their board, no matter what position he plays.
And here's the final, beautiful piece of the puzzle. Evan Brown is not being handed the starting job. He's being brought in to create a dogfight. He's going to battle with the other guys on the roster, and he'll compete with any rookie day draft. His cheap, one-year deal means there's zero pressure to play him. If a rookie comes in and just blows the doors off in training camp and wins the job, fantastic. That's a great problem to have. The best player wins, and Evan Brown becomes one of the best, most experienced depth linemen in the entire league. It's a true win-win.
So let's put a bow on this thing. What's the final verdict? When you put all the pieces together, the player, the contract, the grades, the huge draft implications, the Evan Brown signing is just a textbook example of how to build a team the smart way. This move is the absolute dictionary definition of a low-risk, high-flexibility signing.
For what is basically a drop in the bucket in the NFL salary cap, the Texans get a versatile, super experienced starter who acts as an incredible safety net. He raises the floor of that entire O-line room, but most importantly, he keeps every single one of their options open for the draft. It's a brilliant move with virtually no downside and a ton of strategic upside. This is how you build a winner that lasts.
Which brings us to the million-dollar question, right? The one that Caserio and his front office are probably debating in the war room as we speak. Have they done enough? Is left guard now solved, with Evan Brown as the starter, letting them use that draft capital on other positions? Or does this smart move simply give them the freedom to go and aggressively attack the position with a top pick if one of the elite prospects falls into their lap? In other words, did they just fix the problem, or did they just buy themselves a much better, more powerful way to fix it?
So, what do you guys think? Is left guard still a top priority for the Texans, or can they turn their focus somewhere else in the draft? Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this kind of deep dive breakdown, do me a favor and subscribe to NFL Nexus and give the video a like. And hey, if you want to help support the channel, you can check out our custom coloring books. They're perfect for fans of all ages, kids, grandkids, even you. The link is in the description and the QR code is right there on the screen. Thanks so much for watching,